You're probably going to go off. No. There's no, after here, this is all that's here. Here, there's only the bridge and this house. There's nothing else. We know it's not.
ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ബോട്ട് കയറി നയാഗ്ര ഫോൾസ് ബോട്ട്.
ഭയങ്കര ഇതല്ലേ, ഞാൻ അതിന്റെ ലൈഫിലാണ് ഫസ്റ്റ് ടൈം.
for your cruise this evening up to Westminster Pier. Just as we leave the piers here on the River Thames, you are required by law to give you a short safety announcement. Now, this is nothing to alarm you in any way. It's purely by law that we do so. It's just to let you know that the vessel that you are travelling on today has all the up-to-date and latest life-saving equipment on board. And the life-saving equipment on board this vessel comes in forms of life rafts, life jackets, life rings and free floating apparatus. They are all identified around this vessel using the international green and cream signs. Emergency exits at the front and the back of this boat are also identified using the international symbols. All crew are fully trained and qualified, so you are in safe hands. But in a very unlikely case of emergency, just remain seated, remain calm and wait for clear instructions from a uniformed member of crew. Now, the toilets are situated at the back of this boat, and for any smokers on board, please do so on the outside back deck area only. Now, if this safety announcement has alarmed anyone, on a lighter note, we do have a fully licensed bar downstairs, so go see our lovely cabin crew and they'll be able to help you out there. And I have been doing a live commentary on the way down for the previous passengers, and I'll continue that for you passengers that have just joined us at Tower Pier, so you all get the same experience. But I must stress, I am not a professional tour guide by any means. I'm only a crew member here to keep you safe, so if I do get anything wrong, please keep it to yourselves. Now, over on our left hand side we do have the Tower of London. The Tower of London has been many things in its time. It has been a royal zoo, an observatory, a palace, a royal mint to make money, an armoury and a prison, but most famously known as a place of execution, and is now home to the Crown Jewels. You will be able to see the white writing over there on the wall, entry to the Traitors' Gates. Now, if you was found committing treason against this country, you'd be rowed through that archway by barge, and you would have your head surgically removed, or you'd be hung, drawn and quartered. Now, we don't believe in doing that to traitors anymore. We give them free hot meals a day and a PlayStation. It's amazing with what we can achieve now these days. As we turn the boat, we will shortly be on your right hand side. You will have a lovely photo opportunity of Tower Bridge. Now, Tower Bridge is the only bridge of its kind, being a part suspension, part bascule bridge, and what that means is that the centre arches fully raised like a double-sided drawbridge to let taller ships come in to the upper pool of London. It is also the only bridge to be registered as a ship, as it always needs a captain, first mate and engineer on board at all times. There is only one day of the year where this bridge does not open. We've had a lot of people guess Christmas, but they are wrong. It is the day of the London Marathon, as this bridge marks the halfway point where 40,000 runners run across this bridge every year for charity and other good causes. If you have a tall boat and require the bridge to be lifted, it is completely free of charge. All you have to do is give them 24 hours notice before you come into London, and then they will lift the bridge for you. The best time I've heard to book a slot is at Friday at 5 o'clock, rush hour. You can sail past through slowly, smiling and waving at people on the bridge, looking at all the mayhem and misery you have just caused. Now, over to our left hand side, we do have the HMS Belfast. The HMS Belfast was built in the same shipyard as the ill-fated Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, Ireland. It weighs in at 11,500 tonnes. Its main armament is 12 6-inch guns, and they can fire a 100-weight shell 14 miles away. The first time this vessel fired its guns in anger was during D-Day, and the last time it fired its guns in anger was during the Korean campaign. It is now permanently moored here today in London as a floating extension to the Imperial War Museum. You can go on board and explore all 9 decks. You can go from the engine room all the way up to the captain's bridge. It's also used as a docking and berthing station for other ships visiting London. So we do get to see other Navy ships, cruise liners, and even super yachts dock alongside the Belfast while they're here visiting London. Now over to our right hand side, we do have the stone building with the 6 black chimneys on top. That there is contraband seized at the borders of this country, gets sent to the basement of that very building. Now, so they say at the end of every year, they burn everything they confiscate. Now, during my time on this river, which is 8 years, I've never seen a puff of black smoke come from their chimneys. What I can tell you is their Christmas parties are very special. I'm pretty sure they're still continuing now. Hopefully next year I'll get an invite myself. The bridge was sinking into the mud, so they decided to sell it, and it was bought by an American businessman named Robert McCulloch. It was purchased for $2 million. It was then dismantled stone by stone and shipped over to Arizona, where it was rebuilt in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, and still resides there today. Now, just on our right hand side, we do have the extension on the wall just underneath the bridge. Now what that is, there is a luxury 5-star health and spa suite looking in it the roadside. However, they did in fact forget about passengers like yourselves coming on boats like this. So sometimes you do get to see some semi-naked people in there. Make sure you give them a wave if there's anyone in there. Oh no. Well, sometimes it can be a very good day and we go round and round in circles. And then, as you can imagine, there are days where we wish we never looked at all. Now over to our left hand side, we have the Anchor Pub. It's been on that site since 1615. Shakespeare used the attic of this pub as a dressing room, as well they're building a new structure just over there to the left. That was where the original Globe Theatre once stood. And the Anchor Pub has also starred in some movies during its time. Just to name a few: James Bond, Mission Impossible, and Get Him to the Greek. So many famous people have been in that pub, and me included. I'll be in that pub at 8 o'clock this evening. But the white circular building with the timber frames and the thatched roof. That there is the replica of Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. It's the only building you'll see here in London today with a thatched roof, because after the Great Fire of London, all thatched roofs were banned. But this building has been made fireproof. Of London. If we have any Shakespeare fans on board today, I'd highly recommend going to the Globe Theatre and seeing one of his famous plays acted out in its traditional manner. There's no stage lighting, no microphones like I'm using, no toilets, and umbrellas are banned. If you did go see a live show in there, all I will say is please make sure you check the weather before you go. Do not go on a day when it would rain, otherwise you would get wet. It's an open air theatre after all. Now over to our right, we have the building with a domed roof and a gold cross on top. That there is Sir Christopher Wren's masterpiece, the St Paul's Cathedral. It stands at 365 feet tall, a foot for every day of the year. That dome is the second largest unsupported dome anywhere in the world. There is a viewing platform above the dome. It is called the Golden Gallery. Now if you wanted to visit that platform, I do hope you're feeling energetic. It's 500 stairs up and 500 stairs back down again. But the views you get out there of London are very special. Unfortunately, there's no lifts and no escalators. If you wanted to visit this building, I'd recommend going on a Sunday when it is free to watch a church service in there. However, I say it's free, you will get caught at the end by a man walking around with a silver tip bucket asking for silent donations. Now, if you don't know what I mean by that, that's 5, 10, 20 and even £50 notes if you enjoyed it that much in his silver tip bucket. As you can imagine, a church, a very quiet environment. They do not want any coins disturbing the service. Now the bridges that we are coming through are Blackfriars bridges. They are very close together and commonly referenced here in London as London's Tunnel of Love. So if you're with your loved ones today, remember the archway of the road bridge, Feel free to turn to him and give him a kiss, so they say. Now just over to our right hand side, we have the stone building with a green sloped roof. And there is the old City of London School for Boys. That's where our Prime Minister and other politicians would have had their earlier education. Thankfully it's no longer a school. It is now the offices to the wealthy American bank JP Morgan. Now over to our right hand side, we have the green lions on the wall with the rings in their mouth. Now these are early flood warning indicator systems. So if the water level ever got too high, the police would ask people to evacuate. And they would use a little blue box that will come into sight very shortly on our right hand side. They would use that blue box just over there on the right hand side to phone down to the London Underground to ask them to evacuate in fear of London flooding, as our circle and district line runs parallel with this river wall. And there have been a few rhymes that have gone with these lions over the years, and I'll share them with you now. If the lions are drinking, then London is sinking. If the water level's up to the lion's mane, then London is down the drain. And mine and the captain's favourite, if the lions' heads are ducked, then London is well and truly flooded. Now on our right hand side we have the HQS Wellington. It was part of the New Zealand War Fleet and is now permanently moored here in London as a floating livery hall. Now if you don't know what I mean by the word livery hall, it's just a fancy word for a drinking club for master mariners. Now to become a master mariner you have to be a captain of a seagoing vessel for a minimum term of 25 years. It's a very prestigious club and the head of that club is our newly crowned King, King Charles. You see him and Camilla on the front of the boat reenacting the Titanic scene after they've had a few. Now over to our left we have the stone building with the LED screen on the front of it. Now I know it looks like a multi-storey car park folks, however it is not. That there is London's National Theatre. It does get voted every year without fail as London's most ugliest building. As the saying goes, do not judge a book by its cover, as this building holds 3 of this city's finest theatres. The area it's located at is the South Bank. It's the performing arts sector here in London, so it's where you'll find your art galleries, your theatres and your concert halls. There are street performers there as well. There are some lovely bars and restaurants along the South Bank. The South Bank starts at the London Eye and ends all the way down at Tower Bridge. And the bridge we're going underneath is the Waterloo Road Bridge, commonly called here in London as the Ladies' Bridge. As while the men were away fighting in World War II, the women stay behind to rebuild London. This bridge was built with an 80% women workforce, and they used a Portland stone to build this bridge, which is a self-cleansing stone, which you can tell the difference from the sides to the underneath. So when it rains here in London, this bridge does get a thorough wash. But we do have to give a round of applause to the ladies because it's the only bridge ever to be made on time and under budget. So well done to the ladies. Now on our right hand side we have the stone Egyptian. It is the oldest thing you'll see here in London today. It's even older than London itself. That stone Egyptian obelisk, Cleopatra's Needle. They do build them in pairs. We have this one on the right hand side on the Victoria Embankment here in London, and the sister needle to that one resides in Central Park, New York City. And the bridge that we're just going under is the Charing Cross Railway Bridge with the Jubilee walkways. Now when we go underneath this bridge, it is the only point you go underneath the train and above one. As a London tube system, the Bakerloo and Northern Line run directly underneath this bridge. And the railway bridge feeds the modern complex just behind us over there to our right hand side. Now the architect said that this building is supposed to resemble a steam train emerging from a tunnel. However, I do believe he was under some strong pain medication when he said that, because to me it resembles an old style jukebox. Now over to our left hand side, we have the London Eye. We cannot miss it. It stands at 450 feet tall.
അത് കിട്ടുന്ന ഫോട്ടോ എടുക്കണേ എൻ്റെ അത് കിട്ടുമ്പോൾ
A coincidence. That is a glass pod for every borough of London. They are counted 1 to 33. It's no longer owned by British Airways. It's now owned by the Merlin Entertainment Group. And a ride on the London Eye will cost you between £25 and £30. The latest craze with the London Eye is you can now get married on it. It does hold its very own wedding certificate. Now we recommend that place. Like the saying goes, it is all downhill from now. First one was made out of wood, and what Guy Fawkes failed to do, 2 drunken MPs did and burnt the original one down, and this one here is its replacement. A lot of people reference this building as Big Ben, however they are wrong. Big Ben is just the name of a 13.5-ton bell that lives inside the tower. The name of that tower is the Queen Elizabeth Tower, named after our late Queen, to celebrate her Diamond Jubilee, 60 years on the throne. And before it was called the Elizabeth Tower, it was called the St Stephen's Tower.
അതെന്താ കോട്ടോ
Now Big Ben, he is the hour bell and the hour bell only. The other bells you hear chiming in that tower are the quarter bells. So you cannot see him, you can only hear him.
ആ നമ്മൾ കേറാഞ്ഞല്ലേ
Now the reason for his name, Big Ben, is they wanted to name the bell after the man that was head of construction of that tower. He resembled a bell-like shape. However, London's best kept secret is that Ben was his middle name. His first name was Richard, but they found it a bit rude and inappropriate to nickname that bell Big Rich. I'm glad a couple of you are on the wavelength as me, same wavelength as me. Good evening to you all. Now we will shortly be arriving alongside Westminster Pier. We just have to wait for our berth over there. We've got one of our boats in at the moment. I'd like to think that we have done that today. I also like to think that the few words that I've said along your journey have made it more interesting and more enjoyable for you. If you have enjoyed it and want to show a token of appreciation, I'll be down at the gate with the ship's champagne silver tip bucket. If you've enjoyed it and want to show a token of appreciation, you're more than welcome to chuck a couple of bob in there. You know what I mean by that? That's 5, 10, 20, 50 pound notes, dollars, euros and a good old fashioned pound coin. Whatever the outcome, I hope you've enjoyed your cruise. I hope you've enjoyed the commentary as well. Whatever you do decide to put in the bucket does not go to waste. It goes to all important research that we do for this commentary at 8 o'clock this evening at the Anchor Pub. It's very thirsty work. We don't like to do it. We could be in there for hours sometimes. It's all for your benefit and you're all more than welcome to join us. As I said, I hope you've enjoyed your cruise. I hope you've enjoyed the commentary and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening here in London. And have a safe onward journey as well. Thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you very much.